So Carly Burke with the basketball. Latrobe looking to cut it to 4. Havrilla with the jumper. She buries it.
Welcome back to the Wildcats Network for this postseason wrap-up. Richard Hillwig now joined by Greater Latrobe Lady Wildcat head coach Mackenzie Livingston. And coach, now that you've had about 2 weeks to dissect the loss against Armstrong in the first round of the playoffs, what stands out from your perspective from that game as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, that game was a whirlwind of emotions. Didn't start out the way we wanted to. I think jitters got the best of us in the first half. But just the way, they rallied and finished the game, I couldn't be prouder. And honestly, Armstrong's now going to the championship of the Whitfield. I mean, very good team.
You mentioned a good team. You guys only had 9 points in the first half, but luckily for you guys, you managed to triple your points that you had in the first half in the second half. You had 31. You cut the lead to 3 early in the fourth quarter. What was the message that you sent to the girls right before they took the second half?
Yeah, I just told the girls, you need to lay it all out there. I think we came in very timid. We were settling for those one shot and done. So I told them we got to get in there. We got to get better looks. So we needed more people driving the ball. I thought we settled for, 10 footers a little bit too much there in the first half. So the second half, they really looked to attack the ball, which gave us, a lot more open layups and got them in a little bit of foul trouble. So I think just the aggressiveness was the key at halftime. And then shutting down number 5, of course, she's a heck of a player. So we really contained her the second half. So that helped, get us back into that ball game.
Now, what does it say about the group that you had this year that despite the challenge that you guys faced in that second half to overcome it, you almost did? And it's not just that game in particular, but you faced multiple challenges this year as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we didn't start out, we did win the tip-off tournament, so we started out good there, but then we went on a little bit of a downhill in December there. So just keeping their, they kept their spirits the whole time. These girls, they got knocked down a lot, but they got right back up. And, especially the last 2 weeks of the season, we pretty much had to play almost every game like it was a playoff game. So, especially that very last game, against Penn Trafford, for them to beat us earlier in the year and just to come out and really take a beating on them, our final home game of the year was huge for them. So just their, determination throughout the season was incredible.
I remember whenever you first took the job that I asked you the question about how to overcome the losses of Camille Dominic, Josie Strigas, and Emma Blair. But I think despite all the questions that were asked about the program and the direction that it was going, I think he answered that with flying colors this year.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I got hired, I think in May, started in June. And the amount of support, and the girls just bought in since day one. My very first practice, I think I had maybe 15 girls there in June. So they bought in from day one. They were ready to work. They were ready to get my system down. The ones that were playing AAU, they were ready. They bought in since day one. So, I mean, I can't say enough good things. And they were ready to take those roles over. Those kids were amazing that he had last year. But I knew once I met the girls in June, I knew we had players, ready to step up.
And how do you think the players overcame the aspect of limited varsity experience to just, at the end of the day, go play basketball?
Yeah, I mean, that fall league that we were in, I think was really good for us. It kind of got those girls that didn't get the minutes in varsity last year, I think a little bit more prepared. And then, like I said, December was a little bit rough just because they were getting used to the varsity game flow and stuff like that in my system. But I know once January hit, they were ready.
Now, your senior class, I think, is very important to not just the team aspect, but maybe more so personally for you in your first year. So what impact would you say that those players and people off the court, I know your team manager is graduating as well, so what kind of impact did they have on your first year here at Greater Latrobe? Because it could have been easy to fall apart or maybe fall off the rails when you guys were 2 and 6 and 7 and 10?
I mean, I'll start with Liz, our team manager, Liz Murphy. I mean, the way she stepped in and just helped the team in so many aspects that people don't see. She's not out there playing. She's not out there scoring points. The things she does behind the scenes for this team is incredible with keeping stats of practice, game, video, and just she also helps, me out at practice as well when they're running drills and stuff like that. So hats off to her. I'm going to really miss her next year. I know she said she's going to come back and not help the team, but when she's, not working and stuff, she'll be at games supporting us. So really going to miss Liz. And then those seniors, there's 5 of them. What an impact they had on this program and in my life as well. That's why I think that loss at Armstrong really hurt me personally, just because the impact they had, not only on the court, but in my life as well. I mean, they're irreplaceable. They always will have a special place in my heart, not just as players, but as people. Can't say enough good things about them. Hopefully, Ellie, you'll see on TV here shortly within the next few years, lighting it up on ESPN. And the rest of them, I know a few are going into healthcare fields, Belle, going into communication. So you'll see them not just on TV like Ellie playing basketball, but you're going to hear about them someday.
And now transitioning from your 5 senior players that are graduating, you have some players coming back next year that I think you have to be excited for what you have. Carly Burke, Riley Bodner, Bree Havrilla, Maggie Myers, Kenzie Johnson. Those are players that I think with some more preparation, they can take that next step. Is that what has you excited for next year?
Oh yeah, I've already, sent out team messages when we're going to get going again here shortly. Those girls are ready. They know they're important moving forward. They know they're going to take on new roles. Losing Addie, Belle, and Ellie are team captains. So they know what their roles are going to be next year. They're ready to take them on, and they're very capable of doing it. We have, the freshmen, a few freshmen going to be stepping into bigger roles next year, like you mentioned. And then freshmen coming up who I know can get some minutes as well. So it's going to come with that off-season work. And I plan to have a meeting here very shortly. I'll put in the time in the off-season, like the other teams do. You're not going to get the results. But I know with this team, we're going to get the motivation, the determination. And they're going to work this offseason. I know it. So I'm very excited.
I know you guys finished with an 11-12 record this season, but despite that, I think your first year at Greater Latrobe, I think you kind of set a standard and you kind of accomplished what you wanted to do. You mentioned you wanted to make playoffs in your first year. You did that. So how would you assess overall your first year as Lady Wildcat head coach?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super proud. I had a great staff. I had great community support, a heck of a team. So honestly, my first year, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Moving forward, I definitely, now I understand it a little bit better, how the whip wheel works, what's expected. So I think it's going to be, a better transition going into next year for sure. And, knowing my players, a few of them at least, a good majority of them before June, that'll be, a lot easier for me as well. So I can kind of work in this off season on what they need to and improve and what we need to as a team. So very, very excited for this off season.
And I know that us here at the Wildcats Network kind of brought you in with open arms here, and the community as well brought you in with open arms in your first year. So your final thoughts on the 2023-24 season? Yeah,
I mean, you guys do a heck of a job. I've never been a part of, a network quite like you guys. It's been incredible. The kids love it. I love it. It definitely hypes everybody up, and the coverage you guys do is just incredible. Better than I've seen even when I was in college. So hats off to you guys. And then the community, like I said, I mean, our stands were pretty full this year. Whether it was the youth program, the pep band. I mean, I got to give a shout out to the pep band. They were absolutely unreal for us. So, I mean, hats off to them. And the community, like I said, the support we had for the 2023 and 24 season was incredible, and I hope it continues moving forward, because I can see us, having just as much, if not more, success next year, depending on, what our section is. But I see this team doing, if not better than, last year's coming forward. So hopefully we get the same support as well.
Well, Coach, it was a memorable season for year number 1 here at Greater Latrobe. Thank you for all your time this year. Best of luck in the offseason, and we'll see you next year.
All right, I'll see you guys next year. Thank you.
Tonight, Latrobe improving to 5-6 on the season. They get the victory 55-24. So for everyone at the LHTC Media, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow night.